What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're diving into the trucking company, US Xpress. In this video, we're going to call a driver recruiter, take a look at some online written reviews, as well as take a look at a couple of video reviews from folks right here on YouTube. And at the end of the video, I'll answer the question, okay or no way. Would I, Trucker 219, go to work for US Xpress? And we're diving in right now. Let's go.
US Xpress, how can I help you?
I was calling to see if I can get some more information about going to work for you guys. I'll be graduating CDL school, not this Friday, but next Friday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, give me one moment here if you don't care.
No problem.
Okay, so it looks like I used to have an application a long time ago.
No, I quit driving for a while, and I'm going back through CDL school as we speak to get my license back, and was just calling to see what you guys are offering.
So all we have right now is over the road and regional available. Regional is, over the road and regional are basically the same thing. They're 100% no-touch freight and no forced dispatch in New York City. But with regional, you will be home weekly. So you're looking at being gone for about 4 to 5 days and home for approximately 2. And then with over the road, you're looking at being gone for at least 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
2 to 3 weeks. And then what's the home time for the over the road?
So the longer you're out, the more home time you're going to get. So if you're out for, like 2 to 3 weeks, you're looking at being home for at least about 2 to 4 days.
So basically it's 1 week out for 1 day home?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then what does the training look like after I get done getting my CDL with you guys?
So the training looks like you have to do it for 3 to 4 weeks for $650 a week. And that's just to make sure you're a good, safe driver before we put you out on your own.
$650 a week? Okay, and then...
Yes.
What is the cents per mile after I get done with training for both over the road and regional?
The cents per mile where you're located is going to be 49 cents the first 2 months. 3 to 5 months is 50 cents. 6 to 11 is 50 cents, and then it goes up by the years.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I think you broke up a little bit. 49 cents for the first 2 weeks?
2 months.
2 months.
And then 3 to 5 months is 56. And then it stays 50 cents until about a year, and then it'll go up per year.
And that's 50, 50?
50. Well, no, 56. So
56,
5,
gotcha.
And then a 6.
So it goes up after the 2 months. It'll go up to 56 cents per mile, and it'll be somewhere between 2 to 4 months, right? And then it'll stay at 56 cents per mile until you get to a year, and then there'll be another increase?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Both the numbers for the cents per mile is the same for over the road and regional for the cents per mile?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then for the over the road position, that's going to be on average of how many miles per week?
Over the road is about 15 to 2,000 miles a week.
And then what would it be for the regional?
Regional, you're looking at, let me double check that one real quick. You're going to run about, I would say about 1,100 to 1,500.
Okay. And then do you guys offer any tuition reimbursement?
Yes, we do. Tuition reimbursement each month that you're employed with us. Once you get hired on, we would get it set up for you, and it's about 150 to 200 per paycheck that we give you. Well, per month. Per month.
Okay. And then is there a cap on how much you guys reimburse up to?
$7,000.
Okay. And then do you guys offer anything for veterans? I have a friend of mine that's wanting to potentially team later on down the line. He's really wanting me to take the shot for him to see how it goes and then get back to him. So he was asking me to check on that when I call you guys.
Yes, we do, but he would have to call me directly because it's a lot of information to go over.
Okay. And then that would just be like...
We do help with veterans.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and then do you guys have cameras in your truck?
We have outward, not inward.
Okay, and then last question, what are your guys' trucks governed at?
It is 65.
And that's 65 straight, it's not an increase for being on cruise control or anything?
Cruise control goes to 67.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you so much. I'm calling around a bunch of different places today to try to figure out where I want to go to work, so if I decide to go with you guys, I'll give you a call back.
Perfect, thank you so much, and you have a great day.
Thank you, you as well. Bye.
Bye. day.
We're getting ready to break down this recruiter phone call, but if you found this video helpful so far, hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on my latest videos. All right, so I just got off the phone with US Xpress, and US Xpress does not have a CDL training program. However, they will accept new drivers with no experience. If you're coming on with no experience, you should expect 3 to 4 weeks of training at $650 a week. Now, they do offer two types of positions. The first position is over the road as well as regional. However, both the cents per mile for regional and over the road are exactly the same, and you'll start out at 49 cents per mile. And you'll be at 49 cents for the first 2 to 4 months, where you'll bump up to 56 cents per mile after that. And you'll remain at 56 cents per mile until a year's time, and you'll remain at 56 cents per mile for your first year. Now, here's where it gets different. Over the road miles is 1,500 to 2,000 miles per week, where regional is only 1,100 to 1,500 miles per week. And the big reason for that huge mileage gap difference is because you're taking more home time as a regional driver. As a regional driver, you'll be out for 4 to 5 days at a time and home for 2 days. As an over-the-road driver, you'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and the home time policy is 1 week out for 1 day home, meaning if you're out for 3 weeks, you'll take 3 days home. US Xpress does offer a tuition reimbursement of $150 to $200 per month with a $7,000 cap on the amount that they will pay. And they did say that they do offer some additional benefits for veterans, so if you are a veteran, go ahead and give them a call to find out those specific details. And finally, they do have cameras in their trucks, but only outward facing, and their trucks are governed at 65 miles per hour on the pedal and 67 on cruise control. So let's go ahead and flip over to the calculator here and see how these numbers pan out. All right, for the over-the-road position, we'll go ahead and give them the higher number here at 2,000 miles per week, as I think personally that that's a pretty fair number to go by, and we'll multiply that by 49 cents per mile. And you're looking at $980 pre-tax. Now again, this number is for the over-the-road drivers being out 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So let's go ahead and see what the regional drivers would be at about 1,500 miles per week. And we're going to multiply that by also the 49 cents per mile. And you're looking at $735 for the week pre-tax. So on this higher end here at $980 for an over-the-road driver, if we're going to take some taxes out of that, we'll multiply that by 80% because that's the amount that you would be keeping. 20% would be going to taxes. Again, it could be more, could be less, depending on where you're located. So after taxes on the over-the-road position, you're looking at about $784 a week. But keep in mind, these numbers are just for the first 2 months because they did say there's a pay increase between 2 and 4 months up to 56 cents per mile. So we're going to run these same numbers at 56 cents per mile because 2 months really is not that much time. We'll do 2,000 miles, multiply that by 56 cents per mile. And you're looking at $1,120 pre-tax once you get that pay bump. And again, this one is for the over-the-road position. So let's go ahead and take some taxes out of that. Times again 80% because that's how much you would be keeping. So after your first 2 months, you'll be taking home about $896 after taxes. Now let's go ahead and do that regional at 1,500 miles per week. Multiply that by 56 cents per mile after your first 2 months. You're looking at $840 pre-tax. Multiply that by 80%, and you'll be bringing home around $672 after taxes. So big difference in the numbers from a regional position to an over-the-road position. However, the benefit to being in a regional position, you'll get home every single week. All right, so real quick, I found some qualifications on US Xpress website. We're going to take a look at that. It's showing that you must have a CDL-A and 21 years or older, must have successfully completed truck driving school in the last 3 years, no more than 1 CMV on-road preventable accident in the last 2 years, no major CMV preventable accidents in the last 5 years, no more than 2 moving violations in the last 2 years, no DUI or WI within the last 5 years or 10 years if the offense occurred while holding a CDL, must be able to pass a DOT physical and drug screen, no drug-related conviction within the past 5 years or 10 years if the offense occurred while holding a CDL. No positive or refused test in the past 10 years with a CDL-A or CDL learning permit. Also, SAP drivers are not eligible for hire. So a SAP driver is a driver who's violated DOT's regulations when it comes to drugs and alcohol. And in order to regain their license, they have to go through what's called a SAP program, or Substance Abuse Professional Training. So if you've had to go through that training meaning US Xpress will not hire you. Also over here on their website, it shows what to expect for orientation. It says we hold orientation sessions twice a week in multiple locations across the country. The process consists of a road driving test, DOT physical, urinalysis, and hair test. You will also become familiar with our safety protocol and operational procedures and complete onboarding paperwork. Orientation lasts 3 full days, and upon hire, company drivers will be paid $100 to $104 a day depending on your location. We provide lodging and transportation to the orientation site. Please let us know if you need any help getting to class. We'll see you soon. And if you're going to orientation pretty much anywhere, this process looks almost exactly the same. Okay, it's showing that you'll have to register for the clearinghouse, which is just the drug and alcohol thing through the DOT. And it's showing a bunch of different locations where orientation is held. You got Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Memphis, Chicago, Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, Springfield, Ohio, Ellenwood, Georgia, Tunnel Hill, Georgia, Duncan, South Carolina, and Jacksonville, Florida. There's a nice little map of where those places are at. Now, each company generally requires you to bring certain things to orientation. Some may be different a little bit, but on the website here, US Xpress is laying that out pretty clearly what you'll need to bring. Obviously, you'll need to bring your Class A CDL and your social. You'll also need to bring employment verifications. If you do not have any type of self-employment, military experience, or jobs that are out of business, you need to fax documents for those time frames to your recruiter before orientation, and then bring the originals with you to orientation. Okay, it's got a nice little list of personal items to bring: clothing, bedding, personal hygiene, bath towels, alarm clock, Greyhound. Oh, gross. They make you take a Greyhound to orientation. Ugh. Anyway, it says Greyhound allows 1 carry-on 25 pounds or less and 1 check bag 50 pounds or less free of charge. All other bags are at your expense. The company provides a Greyhound bus ticket to orientation. If you elect to drive, US Xpress will reimburse fuel expense up to the price of the Greyhound bus ticket. Keep fuel receipts and turn them in at orientation. Okay, and then to set up direct deposit, obviously you'll need to bring a voided check or your account information. Okay, and then at orientation, you'll have to do a DOT physical. It wants you to limit sodas or anything like that. Just keep it to water. And they said that's because it might raise your heart rate or blood pressure, which could have detrimental effects on your testing results. The DOT physical includes vision, respiratory, cardiac, medical history, and medication screening, and a hearing test with or without a hearing aid. And then they're telling us about what the road test will look like. 20-minute road test, failure results in disqualification. 40-minute backing test, failure results in enhanced backing training as remediation. After remedial training is completed, a second test opportunity is afforded. The driver will fail the road test if they are unable to perform the following tasks: pre-trip inspection, coupling and uncoupling, place the vehicle in operation, make proper right and left turns, properly brake/slow the vehicle, properly set up and execute a 45-degree and 90-degree back between 2 trailers. If the driver backs into an object such as a cone or into a tractor or trailer, the driver will fail the road test. The driver will also fail if you must stop the driver to keep them from backing into a trailer. If the driver takes longer than 40 minutes for the 2 required backing maneuvers, 45-degree and 90-degree, the driver will fail the test. And finally, the driver will fail if they have a preventable accident during the course of the road test. So don't go all Mad Max when you're taking the road test over here at US Xpress, and you should be all right. Okay, we're moving over here to Indeed reviews to see what other drivers have had to say about working for US Xpress. And right out the gate, I'm seeing 2.9 stars. And honestly, it's pretty rare to see any lower than 3, but 2.9 is pretty close. But nevertheless, as always, we got these reviews sorted to newest. However, there's a featured review here, and it says that US Xpress selected this as a representative review. And this was from September 27th of 2025. And this person said it's a wonderful place to work at, and they are like family to you and very helpful. Out of Lancaster, Texas, an over-the-road truck driver. The question asks, what's the best part of working at the company? They make sure you have a load, get you home on time, very good company to work for. If I had the opportunity to work for them again, I would. What is the most stressful part of working at the company? They have ups and downs just like other companies that you can work around. What is the environment and culture like at the company? They really work with you as to talking to you and working to get you what you are trying to get. They are very nice and talk to you right. What is a typical day like? It's always a good and pleasant day at the job, very nice people, and will try to help you if they can. Now keep in mind this was a featured review. Somebody did leave this review, however, they selected this one to put at the top of the list. Scrolling down here from January 17th of 2026, we have a 3-star that says jealous. If you attempt to leave, they will try to get rid of you first. I drove OTR and a dedicated account. Once the busy season is over, they will pull out camera footage and get you out of there. Okay. All right. This next most recent one is a 2-star overall experience, 4 out of 10. And this is also coming from a truck driver. And this one says, my experience so far has been bad. Low mileage. I have had 1 week over 1,800 miles in 2 months. You're supposed to be home weekly. You can submit your time way ahead of time, and it still will be a hassle just to get home. No communication and pay is not great. Yeah, this is a pretty rough review. However, this one says that you're supposed to be home weekly, which I'm guessing means that you're supposed to be a regional driver. And with them saying low mileage and only having 1 week over 1,800 miles, this actually falls right where the recruiter was saying that a regional job would be. And that was between 11 and 1,500 miles per week. Now, if this is an over-the-road position, this is actually still falling in that range of 1,500 to 2,000 miles. But the real low light to this one is the fact that they're not getting drivers home when they request to be home, and the communication is not great. All right, this next one from January 7th, 2026 is actually coming from the recruiting department, and it's a 2-star saying toxic work environment. And this review just says do not work here. Training is extremely limited, only 1 week, after which you are expected to perform independently with little to no support. Management is largely unavailable, and when immediate assistance is needed, you're instructed to send emails rather than receive real-time help. When concerns are raised about inadequate training or poor management practices, they are dismissed or invalidated. Speaking up often results in being targeted, including passive-aggressive communication from management and a noticeable lack of support. Overall, this environment creates stress, anxiety, and financial instability. There is little support, unrealistic expectations, and a culture that leaves employees feeling overwhelmed and undervalued. Yeah, I definitely always find it interesting to see what it's like for somebody that's working within the office. Drivers may have differing or a really good experience working for a particular company, but people like recruiters and dispatchers and things like that actually see what's going on in real time inside the office, and ultimately this can speak to the quality of the company. All right, this 1-star from December 2025 says it's a trash company, and they were a dedicated truck driver for Walmart. It says stay away from this company, very low pay, do not approve time off request, expect to work every weekend, every holiday, day before and after, poor upper management, they are quick to give you points for stuff you can't control. They do have cameras in the trucks, just FYI. I would not recommend this company or account. Huge turnover rate, which would explain why they're always hiring. The pros is home daily. The cons is long hours, low pay, and poor upper management. Okay, again, out of the top 5 reviews, the only positive one was the highlighted one. We're looking at another 1-star here from December of 2025. And this one says this company doesn't care about their drivers. This is a solo over-the-road Class A truck driver out of Phoenix, Arizona. What is the best part of working for the company? Flexible but terrible dispatching. What is the most stressful part of working for the company? Not working enough, sitting around and waiting. What is the work environment and culture like at the company? There's no work environment here. What is a typical day like for you at the company? Very terrible and very boring. Okay, this is a pretty bad review, but something that you can kind of see a lot with major carriers is not getting enough miles. Okay, we got a couple of somewhat positive reviews here. This one's a 4-star, and it just says it's manual labor. Truck driver out of Warrensburg, Missouri. And it says it's a good company if you like touch freight. Benefits are good, cash advances, monthly meetings. Staff is knowledgeable and listen to you when you want to make it home. But if you don't like touch freight, then Dollar Tree account isn't for you. Yeah, I definitely get that, and that's a whole lot of work. I've actually worked a contract for about 1 week with a Dollar General, and those loads are extremely difficult to move. So I can definitely understand the manual labor part here. Okay, since we started looking, this is the first 5-star that wasn't that highlighted review, and this is from December of 2025, a truck driver out of Markham, Illinois. And the header here says good, helpful. The body of the review says I had great mentors in the classroom and during training/testing days. Every day over the road at work was different. Different loads, different states, different road. I enjoyed the changing of the landscape, stacking up miles, and learning the roadways. I always had help from dispatch when needed, day or night. Some days can be busier than others, but you get through them. The hardest part of the job is the trucking itself. You need to eat well, rest well, follow instructions, be patient, drive safe, and manage your time. They said the pros are dispatch helpful, weekly pay, decent runs, roomy trucks, and pizza. Pizza? Okay. And then it says cons are finding parking sometimes. Yeah, I mean, that's that's just trucking right there. Okay, we got a 4-star here from a diesel technician. Good place to work. Upper management is bad. All right, this 3-star one is from a driver from December of 2025 as well. And the review says it's an alright starter company, but don't expect to make bank. If you want better pay, try to get on a dedicated account because regional isn't the best when it comes to the loads, depending on your fleet manager. So overall with these reviews, they were mostly 4 stars or less, but really the only 2 things that I seen repetitively was poor upper management and some issues getting home when requested. All right, with the online Indeed reviews out of the way, we're gonna take a look at a video right here on YouTube from a driver that went to work for US Xpress. And this one is from the YouTube channel Trey So True.
I feel like US Xpress as a company is a great company. You know what I'm saying? Like, for starters, I'm gonna say that for starters, for people starting out in the truck industry, you just got your CDLs, US Xpress is great. You know what I'm saying? They treat you right. You get your experience. I would consider going local, honestly, but like I did, I started local and then I went on the road. I just wanted to experience the on the road stuff. And there's different things I could say about local and on the road, but I'm pretty sure most people are coming here to hear about on the road. If you want to hear about local, I can make another video about that because that is worthy of another video. But
okay, so right off the bat, we know that they have regional and over the road, but apparently they have some local routes as well. So this might be a good company to experience all different types of trucking.
as far as on the road, you know what I'm saying? They treat you right. It's a great starting point to get your feet wet, learn. You get to travel different places. It's all on the East Coast. It's never to where any bad, like they ain't gonna send you nowhere where it's a snowstorm. If it is, they're gonna give you a different route. They're gonna give you, a different load or whatnot. They're not gonna have you stuck in no messed up situations. So I feel like that's a plus. Second I got on here is facilities. The facilities that I've been to, they're decent. I've seen better facilities like with other trucking companies, but they're decent. Like they got everything you need, showers, clean showers at most of them that I've been to. On I can't speak for all of them, so other people might have different opinions of ones they've been to, but the ones I've been to all up and down the East Coast have been great. Little leisure things. I feel like, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like at these companies, the vending machine stuff, all that shit should be free, because you're already making millions of dollars off of us and paying us. We're gonna get into pay, but y'all already making all this money. At least the snacks and stuff should be free in there, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the least.
Yeah, so it seems like this guy was operating on the East Coast at one of those terminal locations, but it did show that there was one out in Phoenix as well. So if you are on the West Coast, there is options there at Phoenix. And when it comes to vending machines, unfortunately, these are not owned by US Xpress or any other company. These are private vendors.
I know they got free showers. They got free laundry, so you wash it and dry your clothes for free. But that's about it. I feel like the drinks and the snacks should be free. They do have gyms, small gyms. So I guess they give you everything you need, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, free laundry, shoot, that's such a benefit in itself. On top of free showers and gyms and stuff at the facilities. Now, granted, you're not going to be sitting at the terminals all the time. You're going to be out on the road. But when you swing through one of the terminals, at least you'll know you'll have a place to get a shower and do your laundry.
They give you the necessities. They don't give you nothing extra. So it's, I would say pretty basic, but definitely give you, and they're definitely clean, especially on the East Coast. I don't know about anywhere else. The dispatches and the driver managers. I've had 2 dispatchers and driver managers since I've started here. I've been here for 6 months. Both of them great. My first one was great. She was cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person, I don't really talk anyway unless I really need you. Like, I'm not sitting there calling, complaining about this. I'm just not that type of person. Like, you know what I mean? I'm really cool, laid back, and I'm not really a talker anyway. So when I do talk, it's just like short. It's about work. I'm not here to chit chat. Like, I'm here to work. I'm here to get my money. But my second one, the one I have now, great person. She's great. Not gonna lie. Anything I need, she tries to make it work for me. If I need layover, if I'm sitting for too long, she makes sure to put that in right away. My pay, she be on top of it. She'll harass whoever she has to harass to make sure that I'm good. So I really appreciate my new driver manager. She's a great person. They have great people up there, really understanding. Most of them have driven trucks already, so they know how it is to be out on the road.
Yeah, based off of the online reviews, we've seen a little bit of issues with upper management. However, if you're correlating with your driver dispatcher or your fleet manager or whatever, you want to have a good relationship there. And it definitely seems like this guy's got a good relationship going with his fleet manager, and the fleet manager is willing to help him out wherever she can.
And they try to work with you as best as possible as far as like layover pay, or if you break down pay, or if you ain't getting no loads, or if you waiting somewhere too long, they make sure to get you paid. Like, that's one thing I can say. And they really like be on top of everything when it comes to that. The equipment, the trucks, as y'all can see, is what you make it. The trucks come clean. when you get you a truck, they give you a fresh mattress in the plastic, so you know it's fresh. It's the ones that come in the plastic and you have to wait for them to expand, so you know it's real. Like, you know it's really brand new. Like, you know what I'm saying? Comfortability, I feel like they're comfortable, but I have a blanket on it and I have another blanket on top, and then I sleep with, so I make it extra comfortable for me. And you know what I'm saying? The only thing I don't like about the trucks is that they don't come with a microwave or a fridge, so you do have to purchase that on your own. I purchased a microwave. I don't have a fridge. I do got a microwave. A microwave is a necessity, or an air fryer, or something that you can just warm up food in.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely recommend at least a refrigerator and a microwave, but an air fryer or a crock pot could be really good as well. So unfortunately, if you're wanting those things, you're going to have to purchase them yourself. Now, the microwave is pretty understandable. However, a fridge should be able to be fitted inside of these trucks directly from the manufacturer. And it looks like he's in a Freightliner Cascadia, and I know for a fact that they build refrigerators custom fit to the truck. And just a pro tip, if you're going to put a refrigerator in the truck, do some measuring. I found that most of the dorm refrigerators that you could buy at Lowe's, Home Depot, or Walmart oftentimes don't fit into any of these cabinets, so you'll have to find a creative way to put these in your truck.
I feel like I'm just going on and on. It has heat, lights everywhere, bed comfortable, has a second bed if you need it up here, radio, everything. I feel like everything's great. They make sure to keep the trucks up to date. I've never had a problem with the trucks. The only problem I've had with this truck are trailers, and it's not even this truck, it's just the trailers. That's the only problem I've had. Flat tires have always been on the trailer. They make sure you get brand new tires on the truck, oil change, inspection sticker. They keep it all up to date. And as far as the inside, you make it how you make it. If it's gonna be dirty, that's your fault. If it's gonna be clean, like y'all see, I wish I could show y'all, but my camera mounted up. But I keep my bed, I make my bed every single day. I got a broom, I sweep. My clothes over here all folded up. I got my dirty clothes right there. Got my stuff in here. Got my microwave and my Wi-Fi up in this thing. So it is what you make it, honestly. You know what I'm saying? If you're a dirty person, no matter where you at, you're gonna be dirty. Your room gonna be dirty. Your truck gonna be dirty. If you're clean, you're gonna be clean. But as far as everything they need to give you, they give you. Home time is every 2 weeks. For me, you get 2 weeks and 2 days home. For me, I do 3 weeks out, and I get 3 days home. I get 72 hours home because I do 3 weeks. Because I feel like if I'm just running, because I take time to go home to see my kids, right? So I take those 3 days and I'm with my kids all those 3 days. I feel like that gives me time to just be able to work more and make more money being 3 weeks instead of being home. Because then they got to find you loads in your state, and they got to, you know what I'm saying? That's lower miles that you're going to get instead of just working 3 weeks. And then it's an extra day you get to stay home. 72 hours. I do like that at your 72 hours, they're not calling you on your 72 hours. Where you at? Like, they let you, you know what I'm saying? Just don't abuse it. You know what I'm saying? Just don't be like, oh, I'm not coming right. Just don't abuse it. You know what I'm saying? Because they're real lenient. And I think that depends on your driver manager too, but she's real lenient with me. Like, she knows I got kids, so she's not calling me on that exact minute. Oh, where you at? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. So
yeah, typically I recommend over-the-road drivers stay out for at least a month at a time, and he's figured that out as well. He realized that if he was going home every 2 weeks, he really wasn't making a whole lot of money, so you got to stay out a little bit longer if you want to keep those checks flowing.
Benefits. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Since I've been working here, I've been trying to get them to pay off my tuition. It's like trying to get, if I can compare it to something, because I've been through this situation too, your car warranty, trying to get them to pay for something that went wrong on your car. If I can compare that. Of course, they don't want to pay it, so you got to harass them to pay it. And I'm talking about like CDL tuition. If you already have that, then don't worry about it. But they also do school, like college tuition, but you have to pay, you have to be with the company for at least a year. I've seen that. But other than that, I've been harassing them to pay my CDL tuition. What other benefits do they have? Honestly, don't know. And that could be my fault because I really don't know the benefits that they have. I mean, you could probably go look them up. I know it's supposed to be an informative video, but I really don't know the benefits that they have, honestly. Other than like the tuition, I just seen the ones that was like, oh, dental and stuff. They have dental and stuff. I have the best dental. But of course, even with that, I did all the paperwork and I got a problem with my dental stuff now, so I have to keep contacting HR, keep contacting. So it's just, maybe it's just a system error. I don't know. I'm not gonna blame that on them. Since I've been working here, loads have came and gone. And just like any trucking company. So I know people gonna be like, well, that's trucking. I understand. Like, I understand it's trucking. But I also have somebody in the trucking industry that owns their own company and owns their own trucks and tells me there's no reason why that you should be sitting ever. Unless you just don't have any time left. There's no reason why. When I first started, I wasn't getting any loads whatsoever. But I think that was just because of the holidays, because of the first, and around December during the holidays. Then I started to pick up loads. Then when I came back from home time, I just came back from home time last weekend or the weekend before. Yep, the weekend before. So I've been on the road for about 2 weeks now. I've only getting 1,800, 1,900, maybe, and when I say maybe, I'm stressing the maybe 2,000 miles. And that is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. And I've told my driver manager this, so it's nothing that she hasn't. If somebody sends it to somebody, it's nothing that nobody hasn't heard. I've complained, and I won't even say complain, but I've voiced my opinion to them that this is unacceptable. Because when you sign up, they say guaranteed 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week. That's cap.
Yeah, realistically, there isn't a whole lot of viable reasons for things not to be moving, but the only things that I've really found that might be a factor, especially with major carriers like this, is the fact that they're bringing on new drivers with little experience. And oftentimes, they're bringing in more people than they can sustain with the workloads that they have. One other factor could be the fact that companies are required to meet a certain cents per mile requirement in order to put the truck into motion, and oftentimes, if they can't meet that requirement, they just keep the truck sitting. That being said, I totally understand this guy's frustration.
I've been stressing him, oh, well, it's not loads in your area. Well, why did y'all bring me to this area if there's no load? That's affecting my pay. And then the little layover, we're gonna get to the layover pay in a second. But that's not acceptable. We have to still feed our families out here. So for us to be sitting around, that doesn't pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? You make money when you know what I'm saying? If your wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. It's like, bro, what am I gonna do with 1,500 miles? What am I gonna do with 2,000 miles? And then you get taxed on top of that. Then your insurance and stuff comes out. Then your benefits come out. Then you left with that. And then it's like, I could be working.
Yeah, I definitely understand the frustration, and he's right. If your wheels aren't turning, you're not earning. But that being said, the recruiter definitely gave us a realistic expectation, and it's lining up again with what this gentleman is saying. And they said over the road should be 1,500 to 2,000 miles, and regional should be 1,100 to 1,500 miles. And I definitely appreciate the recruiter being honest with those numbers so people can make an informed decision. There's nothing worse than signing on with a company with some high expectations, and those expectations falling short. Like I've always said, just give us the information and let us make our own decision.
Layover pay. And I got layover / sitting, because you get layover pay, and I'm gonna make sure I do detention pay too. You get layover pay when you sitting for more than 24 hours, they say. Shout out to my driver manager. If I'm sitting more than 10, 12 hours, she's paying me layover pay. And that's why it's important to have a good driver manager. Somebody that knows about trucking and knows how it is, right? Because she makes sure, like, if I'm sitting for too long, like today, like this week has been the worst week that I've had since I've worked here, y'all. Sitting. So I've been on their butt all week about loads, and they just, oh, we don't have any loads. It's in the negative right now. Well, my account gonna be in the negative if I don't get paid, because I still have bills that come out. Layover, $100 a day for layover.
$100 a day is what he said for layover, but that's after 24 hours. He did say if he's sitting for 10, 11 hours, his fleet manager will hook him up, but you got to sit for an entire day in order to get that money.
Which is nothing. $100 a day, that's fine. You sit for 2 days, that's $200. What is that gonna do? I can make that $300 in one day by driving 600 miles in a day. In one day, and dropping off that load like that, boom, put me on the next load. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, they be like, oh, I gave you layover. I mean, that's cool, but that's not paying the bill. $100 a day is not paying the bills.
Right.
I could have made more than that at Chick-fil-A for the day.
Yeah, same goes for layover and detention. It's something to supplement your income, but it's definitely not the best way to get the income when you're in trucking. And honestly, it's really just a cover your butt thing, not something that needs to be depended on as much as this guy is depending on it.
You know what I mean? I'm on the road, I'm away from my family. I need to be getting paid for that. You know what I mean? And last but not least, pay. If you're coming straight out of CDL school, and this is what a lot of people have been asking me in the comments anyway, to pay. You're coming straight out of CDL, you're gonna be getting CDL school, you're gonna be getting 56 cents a mile. And for all the people I know, y'all be like, damn, 56, that's low. Or y'all might say that's high. I'm gonna say that's low. For me and my bills, that is very extremely low, because, and y'all seen the
Boom, he completely said it right there. For me and my bills, this is extremely low. What's good pay for one person completely depends on somebody's life perspective. For him and his situation, the 56 cents per mile wasn't enough. Now, for somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of bills, they don't have a wife and kids at the house, this might be more than enough to keep them going. And this is the big reason why I try to attack these deep dive videos with a more informative perspective versus an opinionated perspective. Because for me, 56 cents per mile starting out sounds fantastic. realistic. But I'm also coming from the perspective where I started my first company at 34 cents per mile. So my perspective can be completely different than other people's perspective. That being said, the one other thing to keep in mind is the formula, and that is cents per mile times your mileage equals your pay. So no matter how big or small that cents per mile number may be, if it doesn't match up with an appropriate amount of miles, it really isn't going to make much of a difference. And what I mean by that is somebody is making $1 per mile, but they're only going 1,000 miles per week, they're going to make the same amount of money as somebody that makes 50 cents per mile but driving 2,000 miles per week. So the formula has to pan out on both fronts, both cents per mile as well as average miles per week. But it seems like overall this gentleman has had a pretty good experience outside of pay and miles. But the review from Trey So True was from a year ago, so I want to take a look at something a little bit more recent. So we're going to take a look at one more video, and this one was from just a month ago, and this one is coming from Squirrel Man the Trucker. As always, I'll leave a link for both of these videos down below.
I've been gone from US Express for like almost a month, somewhere around a month or so. I got another job. I get to be home every day. It's really cool. So yeah, this was like my review of US Express. And what reminded me to make this video is I just saw a little blip on the internet saying they were doing a bunch of layoffs. Am I surprised? No. I think a lot of companies are laying people off. And that's a whole other video. I don't care to get into that. So what I have to say about US Express is right off the bat, I just want to tell you, I did not really make that much money working for them. My average check most of the time was like around $600-700 a week. I was regional. I was not over the road. I was home for my reset every weekend. If you're in a truck, living in a truck for at least 5 days a week, you should be bringing home after taxes at least $1,000. If you are living in the freaking truck 5 days a week, you should be bringing home after taxes $1,000. Period. I mean, that's horse shit that I was bringing home that much. That's my biggest gripe with the company, really. Like, they never left me in parking lots, and that's huge because Bar None used to do that to me all the time, and it used to really piss me off. Yeah, so they never left me in parking lots. They always like kept me going. Like their communication was pretty good, you know. I mean, like I said, I don't really have a whole lot of gripes with the company. It was just the pay. The dispatchers were cool. Getting your truck worked on was good. I had no gripes about getting my truck worked on. You know, the truck was good. It was a little beat up when I got it, but it worked. You know, there was no problems with it. It was a typical Freightliner Cascadia, which almost so many companies use those nowadays. So that's just normal. Like getting me home on time was, most of the time they were pretty good about it. There was a few hiccups here and there, but most of the time it was good.
Yeah, again, this gentleman didn't have an issue with the company at all outside of the pay. It also seems like he was an experienced driver because he had mentioned going to work for Bar None before that. Real quick, if this deep dive or any of my other deep dives have been helpful to you and helped you start your career, I want to give you guys some recognition by putting you in the Cab Climb Club. So send me a picture of your first solo truck and I'll put you up there on the bulletin board. So we've called the driver recruiter, taken a look at some online written reviews as well as a couple of video reviews. And now it's time for the question, okay or no way would I, Trucker 219, go to work for US Express? And for me, I'm gonna have to say no way. And the three big reasons for me that are affecting that decision is number one, pay. It seems like US Express falls into that weird category where the cents per mile is good, but the miles are just not there. And the second big reason for me is issues with getting drivers home when they request to be home. For me personally, it's important to have a life outside of the truck, and if you're trying to get home for birthdays, holidays, or other events, you're likely going to be making plans before getting home. And in my opinion, when a driver requests to be home, this is not a request. Especially if you give your dispatch team plenty of heads up, there should be no reason why they hold drivers hostage to the truck. And the third reason was something that Trey So True had mentioned, and that was the fact that he had to chase down his tuition reimbursement as well as chasing down insurance coverage. These are both things that shouldn't be a really big hassle. If the company is saying that they're offering these benefits, it shouldn't be a headache to get access to these things that the company is already claiming that they offer. A couple of the big highlights coming from US Express is their training is relatively quick and it pays you while you're doing it. And if they're not being difficult about getting the tuition reimbursement, their tuition reimbursement policy is pretty good. They do offer some incentives for veterans, and the recruiter said that they only have outward facing cameras. So I want to hear from you guys. Are those incentives worth it for you to go work for US Express? And if any other drivers have gone to work for US Express, I'd like to hear your experience in the comments below. And if you want to check out more deep dives just like this, click the playlist right here. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, bye.